What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with a new episode of Under the Radar for you guys. Been a couple of weeks, but here we are with a new episode, and this is probably going to be one of the bigger episodes of Under the Radar you're going to get because of the magnitude of bands we're talking about, as March 8th was loaded with big releases. But here I am talking about three of them that I didn't cover in a full review, and let's kick things off with Sonata Arctica with Clear Cold Beyond. This is the latest offering from this Finnish symphonic power metal legend that's been around since the mid to late 90s. And I believe I did check out their last album when it came out. I think it was in 2019, and I thought it was alright. This album, I'll be honest, kind of feels like more of the same when it comes to Sonata Arctica. Like, as far as what you get like big driving D beats, melodic riffing. There's some tasty leads on here, which of course when it comes to power metal, you're going to get great lead work all across the board. There are some slower sections that pop up here and there, as well as some triplet swings. However, I will say the keyboards and synths do overpower the guitars, as the guitars do lack a little bit of heaviness to it. Like, it's all about the melody, which not a bad thing, but when it comes to power metal, I'd love to hear some more heavy riffs to like showcase that this is still metal at its core. But as far as standout songs go, songs I liked were Shamat, excuse me, Dark Empath, Cure for Everything, and The Best Things. Like, those songs have moments for me that stood out above the rest. But if you're a fan of bands like Stradivarius, Rhapsody of Fire, Nightwish, and Avantasia, you'll find some stuff you'll like about this. I think it's a good album, nothing special. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Like, there are some good things about this album, but I just wish it was heavier, and if it was heavier and also less about the melody, then it probably would have gone up. But now moving on to the next album, Myrath with Karma. This is the latest offering from this Tunisian progressive folk / power metal band. Like, they're pretty much a hybrid of folk, power metal, and prog metal. Here, though, I would say this feels closer to power metal than prog or folk. Like, there's occasional folkiness that comes up here, as well as some little hints of prog melodies, but for the most part, this is mostly just a power metal album, and dare I say, far better than the Sonata Arctica album. Like, there's some more heavy riffs going on here, and they're able to slow sections down, some awesome bass grooves on here, some triplet swings, occasional chugging riffs come in, as well as breakdowns, huge melodies that really stood out. There's also some great piano parts, strings, and horns, huge choruses. Like, there are some legit catchy choruses across the board on this album. Even on one track, gets a little bit bluesy, but there's also a lot of classic metal riffing going on here, as well as occasional tribal percussion. For standout tracks, Into the Light, Let It Go, and Wheel of Time, as well as Heroes, like, those are some big standouts on here, as they were able to showcase what this album was really going for. Perhaps my only complaint about it is, while I do like the clean vocals, there are times where they could be a little bit over the top, but nonetheless, this is actually some really good stuff. So if you are a fan of bands like Symphony X, Circus Maximus, Camelot, and Evergrey, definitely check this one out. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I think this is some pretty good stuff. While not as strong as their previous album, Legacy, when it came out in 2019, still, Myrath still showing that they can write catchy songs. But now let's talk about the big daddy for this week, and that is the latest offering from Skeletal Remains with Fragments of the Ageless. It's been 4 years since the last Skeletal Remains album, which I really enjoyed it. I forget what it was called off the top of my head. But this album, I gotta say, is a little bit different than their previous works, especially in the influences as well as the tones and the production and the vocals. This album, I gotta admit, this sounds like the best Morbid Angel album that Morbid Angel haven't written in 24 years. Like, this almost feels like a continuation from where Morbid Angel were on Gateways to Annihilation, but expanding on it, as well as retaining early Morbid Angel tropes. Like, this album has triplet chugs up the yin yang, Morbid Angel style blast beats, low end tremolo riffs, some thrashy riffs to kind of keep that like early death metal vibe going. The vocals, I gotta admit, Chris Monroy before this album, I always considered him like the American Martin Van Drunen because he has that same raspy, torturous, dry vocal that which I can't really do right now. This album, he has a little bit of a raspiness, but it's lower in the register. I will say it sounds like a raspier David Vincent to some degree. Now, one big thing I love about this album, the guitar harmonies were just mwah. They were absolutely perfect. Yet when the leads come in, like all the lead work, it's all variable. Sometimes you get big squealy dive bombs, tons of shred, but also some great melodic play, and like I said, harmonies. It gets technical in spots, and I gotta mention, produced, mixed, and mastered by one Dan Swano. So immediately when it came to the production, it was going to be huge, and it is fantastic. Like, this might be one of the best produced modern death metal albums I've heard in the last couple of years. Standout tracks for me: To Conquer the Devoured, Forever Sufferance, Unmerciful, and the instrumental Evocation to Rebirth. Just killer songs, top to bottom, and I can't think of anything really to complain about. So if you are a fan, I would say on this particular, if you are a fan of Morbid Angel, Hate Eternal, Cannibal Corpse, and Decapitated, check this out. This is a 5 out of 5. This is another perfect album for me this year, and one I will definitely get, as well as all the other Skeletal Remains albums, because this is one of the best modern death metal bands going that intentionally is trying to keep the old school alive. But of course, those are all just my opinions. What did you guys think of these albums? Of course, the albums themselves will be in the description box for you guys to check out. But until next time, thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Horns high, and keep your dreams wet.